Video game fan this week dealt a couple of blows.
Ooh,
Well, a couple of real hard blows. All right.
let's hear 'em.
And the first is that E3 2022 is officially canceled. Both the physical show and what was going to be an attempt of doing some kind of digital show completely scrapped. They want to focus resources on bringing it back for 2023 in some new format. Now,
Yeah.
that said, E3, I mean, this has been like one of the longest discussions in like video game, the industry for several years now, is that E3's relevance was fading just with the advent of the way that companies can now just, like Nintendo, put out a Nintendo Direct, or Sony
Yeah.
does these state of plays. So anytime they want to drop a bunch of information, they can just tweet out and say, hey, tomorrow at 6 p.m., be there. We have an hour to show you all these games. Announcements can happen at any time. And really, E3 in general was really more for networking and for the industry to get there and to see behind closed doors demos and all that
And
stuff.
it
It was
eventually
really
became
for
almost like a
developers.
Comic-Con, and I think they
Yes.
got over that. Yeah.
They opened it to the fans, and then I heard it just got so crazy and crowded, and that's what it was. So
Yeah.
it was definitely dying. It needed some kind of a revamp, but it is sad nonetheless. For me, I always used to call it like, Christmas in June. For me, it was like you knew that there was always this one, weekend, almost a week
Yeah.
really, every year where
And
you
what's
were
gonna
just
get
going to get
announced?
bombarded. What big announcement? What's going to get
Yeah.
showed off? It was always the biggest announcements, and the biggest companies are going to be there. So
Yeah.
it saddens me in that respect because, while I still believe that a lot of the big companies will, have some kind of presence this summer, they will have like a showcase. It's hard to say if they're all going to be like concentrated into one week, if they will try to coordinate that to keep that kind of feeling for the fans, or if they're just going to kind of do it when they feel damn well and ready. That said, we will have the return of Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest. He started this I think maybe a few years ago, and he kind of did his own E3 adjacent broadcast. And now that E3 is not going to be there, he has the potential to make his show really big this year, because last year we still had kind of like an E3, and he had some big announcements at his show, but most of them were most companies were saving it for their own showcase or for the E3 itself. So now that we have that, maybe his show is going to be even bigger and cooler to watch. So hey, let's wait and see. And I have no doubt we're going to see some cool stuff this summer. I just think it's inevitable. I think they still want to give the fans that, and a lot of companies want to show off what they've been working on. Especially we've had so many delays. COVID really wreaked havoc on the video game industry. There were games that we should have been seeing maybe a year ago, maybe this year. What a segue. So the other blow this year that I got was that, surprise, surprise, the sequel. Still, we don't have a title. It's still called the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
It has been delayed officially to spring 2023. So we'll be waiting another year for that game. I feel like at this point, it will come out in spring 2023. I don't think we're going to get yet another delay. They were aiming for this year. I'll get into it more. But so the other day we got a little, basically was just revealed in a video tweeted out by the Nintendo of America account. We got series producer E.G. Anuma sporting a very nice new short haircut. It looked great. E.G., you look great. So he came out, and the typical Nintendo, I love him standing in front of an entire black void. Just to let you know, hey, we know you're excited about this game, but listen, we're working real hard on it, but it's not coming out.
You're going to be excited for much longer.
You're going to have to wait a little bit longer. That said, I was very upset, but also expected it. And also it really got my hype gears going, and it got my crazy aluminum foil hat on. And
here we go.
The theories and the gears are going. So guys, we're going to have a Zelda update right now. And I went balls to the wall for this one, so I really hope you appreciate it. So one of the first things I will begin with, it's going to be it's kind of organized, but a little all over the place. So the first part I want to mention is in that announcement that the game was delayed, they did give, just a little, kind of stuff we expected, stuff we know about the title, but there was a nice, interesting little tidbit in there that I want to read. So one of the things he said was that the adventure in this sequel will take place not just on the ground as in the previous game, but also the skies above, which we knew already. We knew that they were adding this element where you were going to be on these sky islands, and there's like some kind of diving from the the sky down to the ground, and like also shooting back up into the sky. Cool little element. But he also said, however, the expanded world goes even beyond that. So that made me go, okay, so this is not, we knew going into this game that they were
Yeah.
reusing the assets from the
Mhm.
original game. It's going to be the same Hyrule map, but likely they were going to make huge sweeping changes to the map, alter terrain. Of course, like I mentioned, again, the islands now and this whole other like layer that you can explore. But now that he said it goes even beyond that, I'm like, this game is going to be absolutely insane. I think they are really going to be changing things up quite a bit more than we originally expected. So I wrote a little show and tell today too.
Oh, I can't
So
wait.
we're gonna go into some theories, guys, and this is actually one of my theories. There are a lot of great YouTubers online that produce great Zelda content and have been theorizing for years about this. So I don't watch all of them. I watch a couple of guys; they're really good. But this one, I think I could maybe credit myself with. Probably not. It's the internet. But anyway, this is a really awesome book. It's called Creating a Champion. So they released a series of Zelda books a few years ago around the release of Breath of the Wild. So actually like 5-6 years ago. Wow, that's crazy. That much time went by already.
Yeah.
They did Hyrule Historia, Art and Artifacts, a Zelda Encyclopedia, and then the final book companion piece was Creating a Champion. So this book is about twice the size of the other three books, and it is dedicated entirely just to Breath of the Wild.
Wow.
It's a really cool. It's made by actually Dark Horse Comics, so you probably can still get a copy on Amazon. Has concept art, a lot of cool developer insight, and a lot of extra like detail and lore. This is the stuff I love when you read, and obviously we love that stuff with the comics and DC and stuff, but this
Yeah.
has a lot of really neat stuff in it. It's amazing to see like how much thought was put into this world. So one little piece in there is that in Breath of the Wild, there is a region of the world called Akala, and on Akala is a citadel, and there actually is in here some cool background. Famously in the lore of the game, that is where 100 years prior to Link Awakening in the beginnings of Breath of the Wild, the Hyrulean forces had their last stand against the attacking, Ganon possessed guardians, and that was where the human resistance basically like fell.
Yeah.
They were defending the citadel. But there's a really cool little tidbit in there I want to read. Akala Citadel's primary function was to repel invaders from across the sea and keep them from marching on central Hyrule. The batteries were set up to annihilate an enemy coming from the sea. Now, based on the position of that on the map, it is to the east. There is an ocean to the east, and you can't really go, into the ocean or past that
Yeah.
in that game. So that's now it's my theory. So the theory here is that there will be another continent or area on the world map across the ocean east of Hyrule that we know from the first game. So that is my theory. That's a cool little like deep cut, but just because
Yeah.
the lore piece, I'm like, I think we're gonna get not just a reimagined Hyrule, but maybe a whole new area to explore. Makes sense. It's a sequel. They're gonna go big or go home. Now we're gonna start getting really in the weeds. So,
Oh, I'm ready.
so I wrote this out. So hopefully I don't sound too robotic. I just wanted to make sure my thoughts were organized.
Yes.
So in Breath of the Wild, the mysterious tribe, the Zonai, were alluded to. They're described as a warlike, magic-using tribe. There are ruins and relics left behind, but there's actually no sign of the Zonai themselves. That is not a tribe or people that exist in the game world that you can meet or talk to. So I believe that they're going to play a huge part in the sequel, and they're going to tie into this mysterious affliction that we see that has happened to Link's right arm in the initial trailer. Also, Ganondorf, who we pretty much, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but we're pretty sure that that weird, creepy body in that catacombs is Ganondorf, and also the mysterious Sky Islands that we've seen in the trailers. I don't believe the tribe just mysteriously vanished, but possibly they left Hyrule or were passed out and then settled on another continent to the east across the sea.
Mm.
My big theory. Now, one other really cool thing, and I love that Nintendo does this. So while Eiji Aonuma was, breaking all of our hearts, they started playing some clips from the previous trailer that we've already seen. But without any fanfare, they snuck another brand new clip in there just to tease us.
Dun
And
dun dun.
in here, we get our best look yet at Link, his arm and the Master Sword, which has seen better days. So the
Hmm.
sword is missing about half of its blade, and what remains looks decayed or corrupted. Link is also standing in front of a ball of glowing golden light and has a similar light emitting from the back of his right hand, which is actually the one that is now basically black, has long fingernails and all these bracelets, and it seems to be like encroaching into his chest area.
Yeah.
It looks like he's poisoned or something, possibly. This may hint that we're going to be spending the game trying to restore the sword or forge a new weapon from the remnants of the Master Sword. So that is my theory that what this journey is really going to be about. Now, if I can, I would like to just go on a couple of other musings that I've had. Uh,
Muse away.
so one of them, this I can't take credit for this one. I saw a GIF on Twitter. So whoever made this GIF, great catch. Link's arm looks very eerily similar to the what I like to call the dehydrated Crypt Keeper Ganondorf. So we do see a shot from the initial trailer, and someone put a side by side shot of Ganon's arm, and next to Link's arm. So maybe Link is actually corrupted by malice or Ganon, rather than what I think a lot of people initially thought was that he's being fused with this like mysterious glowing hand that seemed to be holding Ganon's body at bay in the initial reveal. So it could be like a benevolent, invasion in his arm, or it actually could be something where he's fighting back like some kind of like infection or corruption. Another cool little theory, and again, I can't take credit for this one. This is from Tristan over at Game Explain, which is a really awesome channel. I've followed them for many years. They do great, analysis of Nintendo stuff. But Link may actually be the hero alluded to from 10,000 years ago before. I'm sorry, from 10,000 years before in Breath of the Wild's lore that took place before the events of the game. I think possibly, he thinks, I agree with him, through some time travel trickery and predestination, maybe he is sent back in time in this game and is that hero from the ancient past.
Hmm.
Link's look in this trailer, the longer hair, the new, more like ancient Greek Roman looking armor sets
Yeah.
that we've seen in the trailers certainly support that. It could just be cosmetic, though, as there were armor sets in Breath of the Wild that switched up the look of his hair.
Yeah.
So, now, moving on. While Skyward Sword was the only remaining 3D Zelda that did not get the HD remaster treatment yet, barring the handheld titles, I don't think it's a coincidence that they released that last year. I very much believe that's Nintendo's way of saying you may want to familiarize yourself with this game and story, especially with the inclusion of the Sky Islands and the very familiar look of Link diving through the air. This is the Zelda team getting to fully realize what they wanted to do with Skyward Sword, but were hamstrung by the power and memory constraints of the Wii. Next, while Breath of the Wild focused heavily on breaking the conventions of the series, mainly gameplay wise, the sequel may be looking to further that and break the conventions story wise by ending Ganon once and for all and breaking the cursed cycle that was established in Skyward Sword upon defeating Demise. This would
Ooh.
free the series to really explore new territory in future installments. And finally, no, I don't believe there's any development trouble. I've been seeing this all over the internet. Oh, delayed again. Every Zelda game, literally every
Yeah.
Zelda game has been delayed 1 to 2 times from their original planned release window.
Yeah.
I've stated this before on the podcast. The pandemic was particularly disruptive to Nintendo as far as adapting to work from home, and it slowed down communication and development. They also, for the first game, had a team of like over 300 people and working across multiple studios, even studios outside of Nintendo's internal teams. So you just put all that together, it's not going to make things run on time.
Yep.
Also, the Zelda team is known for always trying something new with each Zelda title. Because of that, sometimes it's hard to gauge when they are done, especially as more and more new ideas get thrown into the mix and they decide to incorporate them. So if anything, fans should be very excited because this sequel will be more than just a glorified DLC that reuses assets. I believe this game will really shake up the formula from Breath of the Wild and give us wild new physics and ways to interact with the game world. I have spoken.
I dig it. Honestly, the thing that I'm most intrigued by is the way, like, yeah, it's a sequel to Breath of the Wild, but by incorporating the Sky Islands, right? And if there is any kind of ocean faring stuff, it's almost like bringing Wind Waker into the mix. It's
Yeah,
like bringing all the different kinds of landscapes we've explored as Link in these 3D games kind of together in a way, right? Because we've done the land stuff in most of
right.
the games, right? But if we're adding sky and sea, it's like, it kind of brings the whole thing together.
And don't
So
forget, in Breath of the Wild, we did not have any underwater exploration, which has been
yeah,
in most of the other Zelda games. But
yeah,
this one, you were only able to swim on the surface. So
yeah,
there's a lot of places we can go here. We could be going underground into caves, into the water, into the sky, into another continent. This
yeah.
game is going to be incredible. Do not worry. There's not development trouble. I think this team is just going balls to the wall. They have to they have to surpass arguably the greatest video game ever made. It is, I think, still in the top three highest rated games of all time on like Metacritic and stuff,
Yeah,
along with like Ocarina of Time, with another Zelda game and I think a Mario game. So
yeah,
Nintendo kinda owns that. Although Elden Ring might have crept in there now,
yeah.
but hey, it definitely took a lot of inspiration from Breath of the Wild. So guys, I'm excited. I'm sad, but it's going to be a good game. It's going to be something special.
And what do you think of the rumor, Brett, that it's that Zelda's going cosmic? No, I'm kidding.
You know what? Maybe it will. I mean,
Maybe it
it's going
will.
into the sky. It's close enough. It's going into
There
the
you go.
stratosphere at least.
Yeah, may as well. You're halfway there.